Good morning everybody, welcome to my channel, welcome to my first ever video. My name is Jenny and this is the first year that I've ever grown my own food. I absolutely love it. Until this year, I had never even grown a tomato plant. I think as a child, I grew some cress on the windowsill, but that is pretty much it. I've always loved houseplants. I've always had houseplants and I really enjoy propagating them and doing sort of different displays and a little bit of gardening, but I've never really been that knowledgeable about anything growing outside, to be honest. And it was only this year when I'd been thinking about growing flowers for cutting and for drying, because I like to do dried flower displays, dried flower wreaths. And the opportunity came up to have an allotment plot. So I immediately thought, oh great, I would love to have that. I will be able to grow lots of flowers there that I can cut, that I can dry, and maybe I'll just have a go at growing some vegetables. And a friend of mine was saying, oh, you should definitely grow vegetables, you will really enjoy it. And that day I just strolled into a charity shop and there was a book in there, sort of allotment for beginners or something like that. It was quite old, it was £1, so I thought I'll get that. And I brought it back home and I was just thumbing through it and I was like, oh yeah, I really fancy this. I'm going to start simple and give it a go. Well, I have to say I am hooked. This has been my first year and I have had some successes. I have so much to learn. I've learned a lot, but I have still so much to learn. The plot that I have at the allotment, it's very modest. I look at some of the plots that people have on videos on YouTube and they are 4-5 times the size of mine. Mine is a really tiny little space. I do plan to extend it, but it's been really manageable, I think, for an absolute beginner. So I've managed to keep on top of all of it really well so far. But yeah, I'm feeling next year I'm ready to expand. I'd like to add an arch and a very small shed, but a shed. And I might switch out the composter. I just have a plastic compost bin at the moment. I would prefer sort of a pallet based kind of big open one, but I'm not sure I have the space for that, so we'll see. But I do have a greenhouse at home that I've been growing in, and I have space in the garden. I plan to do some growing in pots, possibly add a raised bed for some vegetables, but also to really get the garden full of flowers. We have a whole lawn to seed. That's another video that I plan to make. We've got big plans for the back garden and lots of work to do in it, so I will film that for anyone that's interested in kind of a bit of gardening. So lots of things to be getting on with, lots of projects. But it's great, I don't need to wait until next year to get started. There's loads of growing that can go on over the winter, lots more learning. So I thought I would document it and hopefully you'll come along with me. Welcome to my greenhouse. I'll give you a quick tour. We have some cucumbers. The cucumber plants have done really well this year. I have 2 plants and I've had loads of cucumbers. There's 2 here that I'm going to pick now, and there's about 4 sort of baby cucumbers that I think I'm going to give everything a water and a feed. So I think there should be enough, give it enough puff just to produce the last few cucumbers. And then I also have a melon plant. It is an Emir melon plant, EMIR. And I have this here, if I can show you, which, to be honest, in the last few weeks, it doesn't seem to have grown at all. So I feel like it's reached the size it gets to. I have Googled it and they're kind of small to medium size melons. So I think this might be as big as it's going to get. I mean, it feels pretty hard. I don't know what to do. I cannot decide if it's ready or not. I keep thinking I'll just give it another few days, but it's still it's still looking pretty good, so I'm just going to play it by ear. There is another melon right at the top here, but I don't know whether there's enough time for that one to get going and actually get big enough and mature. Who knows? If anybody has any tips and has grown Amir melons, then please feel free to let me know. Otherwise, I just have some pepper plants in here. These have not done particularly well. I have had one pepper from each. I don't know if I planted them a bit late, but it's like now, all of a sudden, there's loads of flowers. So I feel like now it wants to fruit and go mad. But it's quite late in the season, I guess. I don't know if it matters. Otherwise, I have globe artichoke. I have 3 of these. This one's looking a little bit sorry. I think it desperately needs the water. I did have tomato plants in here, and I did have another 2 melon plants. Sorry, I'm looking at the wrong thing. But I realised that it was just overcrowded and there wasn't enough space for air to move freely. So I took out the tomato plants and I got rid of the other 2 melon plants. They'd started to get sort of little white powdery spots on the leaves, which I believe is a sort of mildew. So I thought, right, let's get it all out. Took them out, got rid of them. And now it's just, everything's got a lot more space and air can circulate freely. Apparently that's a good way for just keeping everything healthy. Another thing I did learn is that planting melons and cucumbers together is not a good idea. The same pests are attracted to them, so having them both together is like a pest buffet. So it's never recommended. I've managed to get away with it this year, but I will bear that in mind. And I think next year I'll probably just grow cucumbers outside over the allotment or in the garden at home. I just won't use the greenhouse at all, and I'll keep the greenhouse perhaps for the just melons. I might have a few more melon plants or anything else that just needs to be in the greenhouse. The allotment, and it's just a beautiful day. The sun is shining, the sky is so blue, it's just lovely. So I'm going to give you just a little tour of my plot, show you the beds that I have, what I'm growing, and also what I plan to do to the plot in terms of expanding out. First of all, this raised bed here is my fruit area. I have strawberries and I have raspberries. Everything has done pretty well this year. The strawberries have done so well and they've now put out loads and loads of runners. So I've got lots of baby strawberry plants. I will dig up quite a few of them and put some in the back garden and also give some away. I guess I'll leave some as well. And then my 2 raspberry plants. This one did particularly well. It's a variety called All Gold and it produces these beautiful yellow raspberries. I have had an abundance of these. It just did amazing and they are so delicious. The one behind, I think I had 1 raspberry all season. And they are both supposed to be summer fruiting plants. So I don't know why one did so well and the other one didn't. The structure around it to protect everything from the birds was always just designed to be a temporary makeshift structure, but it did really well. I am going to take it down soon, and then next year I will have something a bit more substantial, hopefully with doors on the side so I can actually open them up and reach in to get the strawberries without having to clamber in and step on them all, which is something that kept happening this year. There aren't any plants on the allotment at all. We have a beautiful dahlia there, and just moving along, these are my potato plants. So these are due to be harvested, I think, in November, and they're Christmas potatoes, but I think they'll be ready a bit before Christmas. But the flowers, they are just starting to go over, but they were so pretty. This bed here is a little bit of a mishmash of all sorts. In this frame here, I've got quite a few leeks. They're autumn planting leeks. I also have a lettuce that I'm probably going to dig up now and take home with me, but there are also 3 sprout plants as well, which unsurprisingly have been devoured by caterpillars, and that is of course because the netting it's just too widely spaced and the butterflies could just get in with no issues at all. In fact, there's a little butterfly now just making their way in. Got some autumn planting peas in here. They're doing really well actually. I've had to put chicken wire all along the edges just to stop the rabbits from eating them. But in fact, there's one over there flowering already. And next to the peas I have another sprout plant here. This one doesn't seem to have been eaten too much, although it was under netting for a while. I did get some footage yesterday, I'll try and insert it, of a butterfly actually on one of the leaves laying lots and lots of eggs. And just round here, these are my carrots. They're Harlequin carrots. They're doing pretty well. This is the second batch of carrots that I've sown this year, and they're covered over again because we do have a lot of rabbits around here and they do like carrots, unsurprisingly. So I have been keeping those netted up, and the same with my radishes over here as well. These radishes have been lovely, correctly protected from butterflies. They're doing really well. They were under netting that I have over the carrots and the radishes, but of course it doesn't have enough height, so they were really squashed. So I took that netting off. I staked them because they were kind of growing. They'd been squashed sideways. We also had a storm as well, and I staked them and then put in this blue piping. I did record it, so I might try and insert a clip now. I was actually doing this project in the middle of a storm. I think there were 52 mile/hour gusts at one point, so it wasn't the most pleasant day to do it. But I used a water pipe, and I actually had a really cool tool that I used to cut it at about 3 metre increments. And then I just basically shoved each edge into the ground as far as I could. At parts the ground was a little bit hard, so I did need to get the trowel and actually dig a bit of a hole before I could put it in and fill it in. And once it was done, it was looking really great. I couldn't put the netting on until the next day because it was just way too windy, but I did go back and do that the following day. And then over here, there is my courgette plant that doesn't need to be under the netting, but it just happened to be so close to the sprouts that it ended up under the netting as well. So I think it's still putting out some asparagus. I think there's about 2 or 3 there that's pretty much ready. I've just spotted a potato plant in here. with my sprouts. These potato plants, they just grow up everywhere. That's the third or fourth I've spotted in the last few days. This is my asparagus. Now I did cheat with asparagus and I bought asparagus crowns from the internet that were a year old already, and I planted them about the end of July. And here, where there is nothing at all, this was a 3-year-old crown that I planted. A little shoot, there was a little shoot, but I think the rabbit nibbled it off. But nothing ever grew back. So hopefully next year that will be producing asparagus that I can harvest. But otherwise, every other crown came up. And I think next year I will be able to take some asparagus spears, but not too mad, and then the year after that you can just harvest all of them. So this is my modest allotment plot. This space here is also mine, so I plan to either have a shed here, because this is probably the shadiest bit, either have a shed and maybe a small raised bed there, or a couple of raised beds. These raised beds were already in when I took over the plot. Had they not been there, I probably would have made smaller beds, simply because you have to just put wood down, or you basically just have to clamber through the middle of the bed to plant and harvest and water, which isn't ideal. So I don't know why they were made so big, but I'm going to leave them. It is what it is, so I'll leave the ones I have. It's fine, I can just put planks down. But I also have some space this end, and this is mine, right up to the big water butt there. So I can either have a shed this side, maybe switch out the composter for a pallet, but I can have some raised beds along there. I do find that the side nearest to the hedge does stay in shade a little bit longer. Like, for example, when my potatoes were flowering, this half flowered several days before that half. But I don't think the shade, I don't think it's a big problem. I would like to have an arch, but unfortunately all of my plot is just in a row, so I haven't got the ideal symmetrical allotment plot with the archway in the middle, so I'd probably just have to have it in between some of my raised beds. But regardless, I will find a way. I've just been picking some radishes to take back for my lunch. They are absolutely delicious. They are quite small, and I think because when I planted them, I think the seeds were too close together and I never thinned them out or pricked them out. So a lot of them are bunched together, and I think they just don't have the space to grow very big. But it hasn't affected the flavour, and it's also just something else I've learned for next year. I also found in the drawer at home, I have a packet of onion sets. So I have a little bit of space, so I'm thinking I might plant some of these now. I might add them onto the end of the radishes so they can be under a cover. It does say on the packet to ideally cover them, so provide some cover to your newly planted sets to avoid them being dug up by birds or other animals. So I think I'll do that, add them to the row of the radishes, and then they can be under the netting. I do have some compost here as well, just to improve the soil a bit, so I haven't brought any. I don't have a spade though, or a trowel. And there you have it, a tour of my allotment. Yes, it is small, but I plan to utilise every bit of space that I have in there, and I will vlog the work that I do and the progress that I make, as well as vlogging the work and the growing that I do in my garden at home. So if you like that, if you are still here, well done. Then please subscribe. If you like the video, or leave a comment, give me some feedback, or just let me know you're there. Tell me where you are. Do you have an allotment plot? Any tips, tricks, recommendations for future videos? I will, in addition to vlogging about my allotment and, oh, hello, and my garden, I will do some housey bits as well, a little bit of cooking, baking with some of the food that I've harvested. So yeah, that will be in there, especially over the months where there's not that much going on outside. So yeah, probably not the best time of year to start the vlog, but hey, here we are. So thank you again. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you have enjoyed it, and please tune in for the next video. It will be here soon. Take care, everybody. Bye.